This is our super secret for Mavericks laboratory where we're cooking up all sorts of really cool stuff. But today, thought it would be a good idea to take a look at why we made GrabPad, the universal permanent jack pad. Let's get started. I don't think any of this stuff will explode while I'm gone. Fortunately, unlike my outfit suggests, there's no real mad science here. Just some really good reasons why GrabPad exists. Starting with the two types of jack pads that are out there. You have permanent jack pads, and you have jack pads that are removable. You put them under the RV every time you stop, you take them back out every time that you're ready to go. To explain why GrabPad exists, let's look at the removable style jack pads first. Well, the biggest problem with these is pretty obvious. You might forget them, and in fact, a lot of people do. We know that we have. Dan is an avid RVer, one of the co-founders of the company, and he's forgotten jack pads many times at sites, and it's a pretty common anecdote that we hear. So right off the bat, if you're going to use removable jack pads, it's just something you can forget, and obviously there's money that goes into that if you ever have to replace them, and the frustration of leaving your campsite and not having your jack pads with you. You have to stop somewhere else when you go to your next stop. It can be a real pain. Now, one pro to the removable jack pads is that the footprint is much larger. So your jack foot is obviously not very big, and it presents the problem of potentially sinking into soft ground if you're ever parked somewhere that's not concrete. And so the removable jack pads, because they can be much larger, tend to help prevent that problem. However, again, you're having to get under your RV every time you need to put them under there. You're having to get back under there every time you got to take them out. There's a good chance you'll forget them, and that's more money that kind of just goes down the drain at that point. So there's a lot of reasons why people tend to steer away from the removable jack pads and go towards a permanently installed jack pad. So problem solved, right? Just get yourself some permanent jack pads and you're done. Doesn't really matter what they are. Well, no, not quite. And the reason for that is because a lot of permanently mounted jack pads don't necessarily fit every single foot. So among jack feet in motorhomes and RVs and everything else, there's a huge variety from motorhome to RV to motorhome. So when you're talking a permanently mounted jack pad, you run into the problem of customization. A lot of other permanently mounted jack pads have hundreds of customization options, and we're not joking. It can be hundreds. And you have to sift through all of them. You have to know a lot of very obscure information sometimes to be able to find which one is correct for you. It's just kind of a headache to search for. And then additionally, a lot of these permanently mounted jack pads do not increase your footprint size. It's barely an increase in surface area at all, actually. And so what you wind up having the problem is that your jack feet will still sink into soft ground if you're ever parked somewhere that isn't concrete. So they're really not doing much good. They can be very heavy, very bulky. That is kind of the inverse of our problem with the removable pads. Plus, another problem is that many of these permanently mounted jack pads still require other pieces of equipment. You'll often need another jack pad, sometimes a removable one, the one we're trying to get away from. Sometimes you need those as well, or you'll need maybe a bucket or something to be able to make sure that everything's stable and level because of the fact that footprint doesn't increase very much. So what's the solution here? What's the happy medium behind all of this? Well, I've got good news for you. That's exactly why GrabPad exists, is to be that happy medium. We've got a lot of different options and none of them quite address every single problem that's out there. So that's what we sought to do with GrabPad. We wanted to give you something that increases your surface area, gives you up to 200% more surface area than a standard jack foot. That's huge. That's going to prevent your jack foot from sinking. We also wanted to make sure that it truly was permanent. These 4 hardened spring steel clamps just grab on, and that's the only installation you ever have to do. There's no taking them out, putting them back on. And in addition to all of that, there's only 2 sizes. That's right. There's an 8 to 9 inch version and then a 10 to 12 inch version. Those are the size jack feet they fit. So that's it. It's really that simple. That's why we wanted to create GrabPad. That's why we made it the way that we did, to address all of those concerns. So if you've got questions to us, reach out, Mavericks. We want to be able to help. You can also follow us here on YouTube for more great content like this. And I am going to go make sure that the lab hasn't burned down. So, excuse me.